So one of you said, it's still a little unclear to me why externalism can respond to Cartesian skepticism. Why is it that a belief can still be justified even if we doubt its truth? And so to think about this, I know we did Gettier cases and everything, but let's just suppose, just for simplicity here, that knowledge is justified true belief. And imagine you're looking at a bottle in front of you, and it's in fact true that there's a bottle in front of you. You come to believe that there's a bottle in front of you, and you've come through your perceptual system, which is reliable. And imagine we're thinking about a reliabilist, externalist view. Well, if you've come to it through that reliable process, then you're justified in believing that the bottle is in front of you on the table. And so you have a justified true belief. That is, you have knowledge. Now, the key point here is that your justification for that belief comes because you acquired that belief through a reliable belief-forming process. Doubt never entered the picture. There's no provision in this very strict reliabilist system for doubt to play any role. Whether or not you doubt, whether or not you come to doubt or could be led to doubt, whether it's possible given what you know, that you're in a dream or in the matrix, is irrelevant to the justification of your belief. As long as you continue to believe it, and while you continue to believe it, and that belief was based on a reliable belief-forming process, you are justified. And therefore, according to this simple picture of knowledge, you know it. So we can have knowledge of ordinary things like the proposition that the bottle's on the table. When you question whether this is really a sufficient reply, whether this is really addressing Descartes, you said Descartes, in doubting, is really trying to see if he himself can be sure of what he knows. And that's one way to think about what Descartes is doing. And often when we think about, if you look at what Descartes himself says, he talks a lot about certainty or being sure. So he is interested in this question of whether he can be certain of his beliefs. But that isn't necessarily, that isn't straightforwardly a question about knowledge. We've also used the Cartesian skeptical scenarios to try to cast doubt, not just on whether you can be certain of what you believe, but also whether you can know those things. And so I think what the reliabilist or externalist might say, they might say something like, look, maybe you shouldn't be certain, maybe you should be. I think they can go both ways on this, but they can say, I don't want to talk about certainty first and foremost. What I want to talk about is knowledge. And you can have knowledge because you can have justified true belief that the bottle is on the table because that belief came about by a reliable belief-forming process. So I think Descartes this person who asked this question might be right, that Descartes might be focused on something different with a very internalisty way of thinking about things. But I think the externalist is trying to say, that's not what we want to talk about. We don't think certainty is what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on justification or knowledge.